I like that you have you can choose to view non-nude models, which, no judgment on people. Everybody has their, their things that they like. I just happen to particularly be a person that the vast majority of the time, that's my interest. Just, conversation with somebody.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh, so that's kind of how I got into it and discovered that, yes, there were quite a few models that were available for basically just chat.
yes, absolutely. I think that that is a misconception about the site is that it's just strictly flirty content, sexual content, but
Mhm.
I would say there are most people that come, of course, some members want to have fun, but
Sure.
um, almost all of them want the connection as well aspect of it.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun to, and the models are from so many different places, right? That you can discover and learn about people from faraway places, and get to, it makes the world a little bit smaller, I guess.
Yeah, I like how you said that. That's cool.
It kind of made a connection with one of the models that has bloomed into quite a friendship. I mean, we pretty much every day we have a conversation. Uh, the days that she's available at work, or off, not feeling well or something like that, right? So probably over the last, since November or December of the last year, pretty much every day I've visited with her.
Is she the only model that you visit with, or do you have a select?
I would say, if I was gonna put a percentage on it, at least probably 90 to 95% of my time, just enjoy chatting and listening to music, and occasionally we'll even sit and watch movies together, believe it or not.
Oh,
Uh,
what is it about her and your relationship with her that you like so much? What value?
she just is a very personable person, and very uh, just seems like she makes a connection on a pretty personal level, right? Like, asks about what I do, don't what I do, what my hobbies are, what I do and don't like, about my family, that sort of stuff. Just really like you would with an actual friend, right? It's fun to kind of see somebody learn something new and progress. And of course, I've learned some of her language as well. So,
That's
uh,
incredible.
and just to kind of generally talk about things in life, and what kind of music you may or may not like, what movies you like, what you like to do for fun, and then just about each other's history and family and stuff. Just a real good connection. I mean, that is basically like what you would have with, you know, I don't know. It just seems weird to say a real friend, but there is that kind of, still that little bit of a thing of you see the person and they look like they're right there, but it's there's still that distance, right? But as close, I think, as you can get to having a genuine acquaintance and friendship with somebody, from that kind of a distance.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely has opened up a vast uh, area of the world, right? To get to know people and find out about them, and what it's like where they live and what their interests are, and uh, interestingly, how much people are really alike. you know.
It sounds like the things that you mentioned that are really important to you are that she cares for you, she's checking on you. You guys have this great, it sounds like, dialogue and connection where it sounds like you can just talk about almost anything.
Yes.
Um, and it sounds very genuine. I'm curious if there's anywhere else in your life that you're getting that type of connection, or if she is providing that type of connection.
Well, of course, I have friends that in the real world, if you will. Probably nobody at this point in time that I'm that close or connected to. You know, I, in a strange sense, having the kind of computer between you kind of offers a little bit of a layer of of separation as well, right? That can sometimes make you feel a little more comfortable. It's sometimes it can be intimidating or whatever, and particularly with the coronavirus, right? It made it very difficult to get out and go see people. And I'm not a person that goes out to clubs or things like that, right? I'm kind of a homebody, or tend to go to the beach and stuff like that. It's Hawaii, right? And do those sorts of things. So uh, anyway, over the last 2 years, obviously, that ability to connect with people was really diminished. So it kind of filled in a gap there too, right? Of like, hey, here's a way to communicate with somebody that you don't have to go out, you don't have to have that potential exposure, and if it things seem to like they got weird or whatever, you can just close the chat, right? So that little bit of separation helps sometimes to feel a little less anxious or whatever about being with people, I suppose. Uh, I don't have a problem with being with people either, right? It just uh, like I said, more so during the last 2 years that stuff was going on, right? It was a way to reach out to people that physically was safe, right?
Safe. I think that is the key word, and I was going to use that word. It sounds like you feel more safe to connect in this way online. And I think even more than, you know, the challenges we faced with COVID, I think there is also a degree of safety, emotional safety that comes along with someone
Mhm.
who doesn't really know anyone that you know and is non-biased.
Yeah, no, that helps too, right? You can kind of go into it with no preconceived notions about somebody or they about you, right? It's kind of a neutral medium, and you can share as much as you want or as little as you want, right? Uh, and like I said, if you grow tired of it or something seems to to go in a strange direction or whatever, you can simply close the chat and choose not to interact, with that person again. Uh, so yeah, some degree of safety that way.
Do you have a favorite memory on Jasmine?
Um, I would say probably the first time that I did an actual camera to camera chat with this particular model, because I tended to not do that. And occasionally people would ask or whatever, and she would pretty consistently ask and would explain. It's like, it's not that I'm trying to get you to pay a bunch more money. It's just like I feel like I make a better connection with people when I can see that person. And I was kind of resistant because I was still kind of like, well, I don't know how well I know you, and so finally one day, it was a surprise to her. I just decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and surprise her and open up the camera, and just how happy that made her was a pretty memorable moment. That like, oh, you're here, right? I can't believe it. After all these months of chatting, and you sent me a few photos or whatever, but you finally opened the camera for more than just a second. You actually opened it for a conversation. So that's probably my favorite memory, was
I love
the
that.
real positive reaction she had to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, it's a connection not just for the member, but for the model too.
It took me a little while to understand that when she was describing that, right? That it's because it's easy to sit here and think, well, they're just trying to get me to spend the extra dollar or two or whatever for the camera. But she did explain that afterwards, is like, I'm so happy you finally did this, because yes, it allows me to make a connection. You're not just words typing on a screen out there, that I don't see anything, that you are a real person. I feel like you're kind of here, and I can see your facial expressions, and see how you react to things that I say, right? So
What would you say is the number one emotion that your favorite model causes you to feel?
Um, I would say relaxed.
That's a good one.
One of her friends has the room right next to her. She's like, I always hear her laughing in there and having a good time, or maybe you watch some scary show together, right? And I hear her scream when she's, when she's shocked or whatever. And it's just like, she's like, it's really nice to like hear that somebody is like having that much fun and being that entertained, together, you know.
There is a flirty and sexual nature to the site, that's
Sure.
obvious,
Yeah.
but, there's a lot more to it too, and
Mhm.
we want the stories that aren't so obvious, stories of connection, of, chatting and watching shows together. No one would
Mhm.
think that unless you're the one doing it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the people that she works with are just like, "What? You guys, like, sit and watch a whole movie in a private chat together, and that's it?" He's not, like, asking you to, do anything, whatever, and she's like, "No, we just talk or listen to music together or, watch TV shows or something like that for a little bit," and it's just, very relaxing. The honest truth is like, well, if I just want to see that kind of content, there's millions of hours of it available for free on the
Exactly.
internet. Maybe you can't talk to the person necessarily, but there's the ability to see anything you would ever possibly want to see, and you don't have to pay a dime except for what you pay for your internet service and your electricity, right? Uh,
That alone shows you that there's something more than just the sexual content that's, happening because exactly, you don't have to pay for sexual content, you can get tons of it free online. Everything you've said in this interview has just been said so well and so clearly, and I just really wanna thank you for articulating it for us and sharing your positive experience that you've had on the site and with a model, and I wanna thank you for your time. You've given such a great interview.
oh, thank you. It's been fun to have this little chat, and I'm glad you folks are trying to broaden that image, right? Aloha.